Yeah. Nice to see you. Oh, Natalie is your colleague, right?
Yes, Natalie is one of my colleagues. The second Natalie is the second of my colleagues, and then Alex joins us as well.
Okay, I said the recording, we still have 4 minutes. Sorry for imperfect organization from our side, but we're just juggling too many things at the same time, trying to help as many of our clients as we can. So we are ready to start. So far, I asked the guys to put in the Zoom chat what city they are based in. Is there anybody who is based in Poland, actually, who's already there? Please text your town or in which city you're located into the chat. Okay, we have somebody from Gdańsk. Okay, Alex, yeah, hi.
Hi.
Szczecin, I'm not sure.
Szczecin. That's correct.
Okay.
That's still Polish.
Okay. Anybody else? Okay.
Rzeszów.
Uzbekistan, wow. It's kind of far away, but we are happy to share our knowledge too, anyway. Okay, anybody else, guys? Which city are you based in? And so the way this will work, we will give a floor to our colleagues from Poland, representative of IT Corner, a Polish association, and they've been helping Ukrainian companies who already filled out the form that we were sending out for legal advice. And we understood that a lot of questions actually repeat themselves. So that's why we decided to kind of create this webinar and gather here a safe space to discuss questions. And Mike, correct me if I'm wrong, that at first we'll have a short deck to go over kind of Polish law 101. And later on, we will do Q&A, AMA, Ask Me Anything question session. And there we will be able to discuss any sensitive stuff that you want, because we will record it, but we will not publish it anywhere. So please stay here, and at any point of time, feel free to use the chat box to give your feedback and to ask a question. Of course, after we finish with the presentation, we'll be able to give you the floor and ask a question in real time, but also feel free to text the question while you are at it. I will be here as a moderator, more or less. Mike is the boss today, but I'm here as a host from Ukrainian side. And of course, we are very happy and grateful to everybody in Poland, and specifically the teams that are helping us set up Ukrainian companies there in safety and help with legal, banking, and actually any localization help. So we are right on time. We have some I don't know how many people. Okay, 29 people. Thanks a lot. Once again, first thing you do when you log into Zoom, you mute yourself, except if you're not the speaker. You type the question, the city you are based in right now, and feel free to jump ahead and ask any question you have. So Mike, I'm ready to give you the permissions to share and anything. Just a couple words about you. You've helped 100 IT companies in Poland and a lot from Ukraine, I guess. Tell us how was your past week? A lot of Ukrainian companies?
A lot of Ukrainian companies, a lot of Ukrainian people to help, a lot of support provided, a lot of things. I've never had so hard weekend, but it's okay. I hope it succeed. We all succeed, and we all win this really wrong situation. So it's a pleasure that I can help you. It's a type of support we can do the best. We don't know how to bring people from Ukraine and from the border, but we know the law, and we can. This is why we can share our experience, our knowledge, and we do the best for you to supporting your companies. I can imagine how hard your last week was, so I'm not regretting my. Alex, can you start? We have short presentation, like Sasha mentioned. Alex will be a host of the slides. Our idea is to tell you because I have had several already discussions with Ukrainian companies, and like Sasha mentioned, the questions repeat. So this is some questions, some answers gathered all together to tell you once again how it is to do IT business in Poland. And then this Ask Me Anything session, you can ask whatever you want. And then we have another idea to provide you a Google Doc where sometimes it's really tough to ask some questions at once because some questions appear later on. So we'll provide you a Google Doc with a link inside the presentation, and you can then ask there some questions, and we'll review it once 2 days, for example, and answer all the questions that appear after this webinar. And there was a question on the side whether this webinar is going to be shared. I think this is Sasha to answer, but we have nothing against it. This idea is to share this recording for people who are not able to join us today. So Alex, can you start the presentation, or you have
Okay. I don't know, Alex, which Alex? I don't see anybody.
He was with us, but he's lost, I think. Alex.
Yeah, I'm here now. Sorry, I have some troubles with my Zoom application. Just a second, please.
Okay.
Okay, so just to tell you maybe in a few words about myself and people who are with me. This is how I start. I'm IT lawyer since 20 years, and my company helps.
Let me know if everything's all right now. Do you see my presentation?
Yes, but you should turn on the podcast slide.
Yeah. We understand it exactly. It's very similar to Ukrainian. We don't need the translation for that.
Yeah, I know it's similar. Turn on the podcast slide mode.
Sorry, but I have some troubles with Zoom application again. It won't me. Just a second, please.
Okay.
If you just share the link with the presentation, someone else might maybe help you.
Yeah, with me.
To show the next page, for example.
Okay, Sasha, so I will just share the link to the presentation with you, so you can share it. Thank you.
No problem.
Okay, so we provide help for over 100 IT companies, both from Poland and also last time for last few weeks for Ukrainian and other countries. They are both small, like 10-20 people, up to 6,000 people employed. So we see the whole range of companies on Polish and international IT market. With me there is Natalia Cieplińska, who is the head of this IT legal team and supports all these companies. Alex, who is a manager in this team and also IP specialist. specialist, and Natalia Muszak, who is Ukrainian lawyer, who supports us. She's a professor of law, of international law in Kiev University, my friend since many years. I asked her to join she stays now in Poland already, and I asked her to join if there is something not clear to explain in Ukrainian or Russian for you. If there is some questions about the differences between Ukrainian law and Polish law, we can also help you. So,
okay.
you have.
Yeah, almost done. Yes. Okay.
Ого, какая.
Okay. Guys, please mute. Please mute yourself.
Перечитать.
Nazar, please help me with muting people. Okay. Okay. One, two, three. Yeah, we're live.
Thanks. Perfect. So
Thank you,
so
Sasha.
thank you. You can skip this slide and the other one about our company. Oh, what else to be mentioned? I'm also a member of the board of IT Corner, which is the biggest tech society in Poland. It's a society association of owners of the companies, IT companies or IT related companies. So and there is a strong support of this association toward growth factor in the whole Ukrainian environment of IT companies. From this environment, the idea started to help you, to support you. If you need any other help, not only purely legal, but consulting, help with leads, help with resources, you can also contact us, and we try to support you as much as we can. So maybe you can move to the next slide, Sasha. Sorry for this type. You can skip it as well.
Michael, quick question. Will you be able to share your contacts so we can get in touch directly?
Yes, I will share my contacts. It's on this presentation, so you can contact us any time you wish. At the beginning, I wanted to say, because there were several questions for last many days, how the IT business looks in Poland like. So this is why I'm starting about from few words on how IT software development business especially looks like. The Polish IT branch is not very homogeneous. There are small, medium-sized, and big companies. Like I mentioned, there are companies that have like 10 software developers, and there are companies that have few thousand software developers, and each of them is successful. So there are plenty of companies that provide only outsourcing, purely outsourcing, and there are companies that build their own products, frameworks, and sell them. So there is a space for each type of the company. 90% of companies on the market, there are limited companies whose owners are in the management boards. This is especially smaller and medium-sized, but even big companies are conducted that way. 85 up to 90% of people employed in the business are people employed on one-man business activity, the sole entrepreneurship, like B2B. So it's, as far as I found out, it's really similar to Ukrainian law. It's common that when you recruit somebody, you provide him both an offer for labor contract and B2B contract, but B2B contract is much you can earn much more money net. So this is why 85 up to 90% people are employed on this B2B status. 90 and 85-90% of software developers and other people in the process for IT development are taxed by revenue. And this year the legal system changed significantly. It's really complicated. There are different tax rates related to different posts in the process. So, for instance, the software developer is taxed by a rate of 12%, and UI or UX or sales is taxed by the rate 8.5%. So there is a quite complicated matrix of tax in Poland, but just to mention this beginning from this year, a huge majority of taxation was increased, but regarding the taxation of IT branch, the rates were decreased. Polish law allows to work in several ways, including 100% online and from different countries' jurisdictions. There are companies being remote only for years. 90% of the branch works either remote only or remote first in a hybrid system. So it's not really common to have big offices, to rent big offices. If there is an office, it's more a place where people meet for workshops, for some presentations, not to work from. Maybe it changes, but it's a really significant change that happened during COVID. And what else? Companies cooperate in associations. There are few strong associations. They, like IT Corner itself, they share leads, use something that it's called bench, which is sharing the resources that are not paid by the client temporarily. They may be shared to another company, and it works both directions. So this is really briefly in few words about Polish business. For years it was quite difficult to legalize the stay in Poland, and now there is this huge change toward Ukraine. Right now in the Polish parliament, there is a new statute, new bill. It's not passed yet, but it's going to be passed within a few days. And it provides a legalization of stay, work and conducting business activity in Poland for Ukrainian citizens for 18 months. Everyone who had to move from Ukraine to Poland can legalize his stay for 18 months starting from February 24th. There are also some exceptions for people who came here before that date, but for the people that had to move after February 24th, it will be really easy to do it. I think Alex will explain it in more details in the next part. What would be my suggestion how to start your stay while you are in Poland? Firstly, remember about PESEL, that this is a Polish personal number. When you are a Polish citizen, you are provided with it after you are born. When you are a foreigner, you get it from Polish authorities, from each Polish municipality. And this PESEL is the number you have to get to be able to work, to conduct a one-man business activity, to get a bank account. This new law I mentioned provides this PESEL or allows each of the people from Ukraine who are here legally to obtain this PESEL number, but it will be required a written a signed form to get it. So even now, people who are here legally may do it. So my suggestion is to obtain it as fast as you can. If you are in Poland, if you have people who are here in Poland, ask them to get it as fast as possible, because I can imagine 1 million people who after the bill is passed apply for this special number. After you get the special number, you can receive a pull-up that it's a trusted profile to contact Polish authorities. It can be obtained also in each of the Polish municipality, and with this pull-up and PESEL, even now you can contact authorities in almost 80% of the cases. And after the new law is passed, you can, with this both things, with PESEL and pull-up, you can conduct business, open, register yourself as one-man business activity, and get all the benefits from the new law. The third step for your people should be getting a private bank account. It's really important to provide a continuous business activity of your companies. It's the most important. My approach is not to worry right now about the provisions of law, about taxing and all these things related, but firstly to secure your business continuity. So if your people who are here in Poland have bank accounts, they can be paid, they can rent flats and so on. So these three things, PESEL, pull-up, and bank account, should be first three steps you should do. Bank account can be established having PESEL and a pull-up, even electronically. So if somebody goes to the bank, it's one visit. If some people may choose doing it electronically, but I don't know if there are already Ukrainian and Russian language services in some banks. Then after this new law is passed, it's really easy having PESEL and the pull-up to register yourself or your people working on B2B relation as sole entrepreneurs, as one-man business activities. It can be done electronically within one day, few hours. Only very simple and easy way. This is all about first steps. Later on, you can ask me more. I would like to share some hints, really important. Firstly, taxation. If there is, it doesn't matter whether you are here few days or 180 days, because this were the question. If our people are here less than 180 days, do they have to fulfill all the obligations here in Poland? And the answer is yes. Even if the war, we all hope, ends in 1 month, 2 months, people who stayed there this 1 month, 2 months have also obeyed the rules and tax rules that are here in Poland. So don't wait until this 180 days. Like I told you, secure your business continuity, pay them, then consider this Polish rules and tax 180 days rule. You shouldn't wait for them being here in Poland 180 days. This is the first thing. In Poland, the second quite unusual thing that regarding the transfer of IP rights, you have to have either an e-signature or paper contracts with your people. So secure it to get your IPs properly. This is really important. If you have subcontractors, maybe clients not, but because it's the client's problem, but your company and your subcontractors that are here in Poland, secure it. The third thing is that may be unusual for you is GDPR. This is the law on data protection. It will be involved in many aspects of your company here. So remember about it. Right now, I don't think anybody would find and check it, but you must have it somewhere in your mind. And you can ask, there were several questions, do I need a legal entity here in Poland at all or not? I know there are some companies that work from abroad already that were not situated in Ukraine, but in US or Baltic states or even somewhere else. You can operate it the same way in Poland. So a US company, Lithuanian company, UK company may employ people may have subcontractors, one-man business activities from Poland. So it's also possible. So you don't have to establish any company in Poland just to have your people working here. However, if you wish to recruit from here, from Poland, or you wish to rent an office in Poland, or I don't know, rent flats for your people here in Poland, my advice is to get a company in Poland, because for a foreign company, it's really tough to get a bank account or to rent something. So in this situation, the company here, the legal entity here is really important. And now I think that's it for my part. And Natalia tells you more about companies, types of companies in Poland, and what to choose.
Yeah, thank you, Michał. I will tell you more about the companies from this formal side, and I will try to present as short as I can the main issues, the main problems and facts in general about the types of company that we have in Poland. We have
you can skip, Sasha, the slide, because I have already told it about the taxation. Yeah, thanks.
So we have several options when it comes to forming and conducting business in Poland. I will focus on companies, and later we will tell you more about self-employment. And Michał has already spoken a lot about it. So I will stick to the companies, and when it comes to the companies, in general we have partnerships and capital companies. The main difference between those forms is a type of general liability of partner shareholders, because in partnerships, the partners are responsible directly for the obligations of the firm, and those responsibility also include our personal property. So it's different from capital companies, because capital companies are legal persons, and shareholders are not personally at all responsible for the company's liabilities, with some exceptions from members of the management board. I will tell you later. And many differences between partnerships and capital companies arise precisely from the fact of having or not having a legal personality, because capital companies operate through their bodies and partnerships through their partners directly. So there are, of course, some exceptions from that, but in general, taking into account your industry, companies' potential development process, image-related issues, and calculating financial risks of conducting business from Poland, the most frequently chosen form of running a business for IT companies are capital companies, especially a limited liability company, which has been already mentioned by Michał. And the limited liability company, in Polish spółka z ograniczoną odpowiedzialnością, is the most popular commercial company in Poland, because it is easy and cheap to establish, And I would say this form is enough for most business activities. It is appropriate form for those shareholders who want to maintain direct supervision over the company affairs and at the same time limit risk only to their contribution. Then we have joint stock company, in Polish spółka akcyjna. Spółka akcyjna is established usually for the purpose of operating businesses on a larger scales. And financial capital, this startup capital for this type of company is 20 times greater than in case of capital of spółka z ograniczoną odpowiedzialnością. And also financing for this type of company, for spółka akcyjna, may be obtained through issuance of shares. And we usually advise this type of company, this type of business, when founders are thinking about raising capital from the third parties, from capital markets. We need financially for further operation investments, or when you want to establish and run an employee stock option program based on share issuance. And joint stock company is, from the formal point of view, the most extensive and one could say the most mature form of doing business in Poland, which also obviously entails more responsibilities, starting from this much bigger share capital. And finally, starting from July last week, you can conduct your IT business in the form of simple joint stock company, which, as its name suggested, should be simpler in establishment and operation than in case of joint stock company. In case of a simple joint stock company, we have board of directors, a new body instead of the management board, something which is, I think, drawn up from common law, that may be alternative for a company's management board as well as supervisory board. And in general, a simple joint stock company should be inexpensive to establish, because only 1 zloty is enough to establish it. Is it because the 1 zloty is the minimum value of the share capital which shareholders have to invest in this company at the beginning? So basically, it's nothing. And this formula should be interesting for new young companies and startup environment. From our observations, the PSA, this in short, prosta spółka akcyjna, can be specifically a form for conducting business for startup environment. And to sum this up, these differences, and show you them in more details, we have prepared a short table to compare some of the most important features of 3 capital companies. So we can skip to the next slide. This was already said, and there's a table. Yes, we have in which we try to compare the most important features in order to show you what are the differences. So in all those types of capital companies, we just need one shareholder in order to establish the company. When we talk about the minimum capital, as you can see, prosta spółka akcyjna is the cheapest, because you need only 1 zloty to establish it. The most common spółka z ograniczoną odpowiedzialnością requires 5,000 zlotys in order to be established, and joint stock company spółka akcyjna requires 100,000 zlotys to be established. And if we talk about the company agreement, the article of association, so in case of the prosta spółka akcyjna and spółka z ograniczoną odpowiedzialnością, we can establish it through electronic system. so-called S24, S24. But in case of a spółka akcyjna, this more mature version of conducting business, we can do it only in a notarial deed. There's no possibility of electronic registration. So the presence of the notary public is required. Well, we can do it through the power of attorney, but still there have to be a physical appearance in the notary public office. And forms of contributions, in each case, the contributions can be in cash, in kind, or in kind, so some know-how, some properties, and so on. But there's one special opportunity when it comes to the prosta spółka akcyjna, where the contribution of work and services can be included as a contribution to a company, only in case of a simple joint stock company. And the form, when it comes to the form of shares in, oh, the presentation has vanished.
I'm sorry. I will come back. I made a mistake.
Okay, so I will look at my version. Oh,
No
so
worries. Second. Yeah.
okay. So when it comes to the form of shares, in each case we have this intangible version of shares, so there's no need to create a document for each share. But in case of a joint stock company and simple joint stock company, there's a obligation, mandatory, to keep a mandatory shareholder electronic register, which is kept by a brokerage house. So this is an additional cost for a company, but it's not substantial, I would say, because it's between 2,000 and 3,000 zlotys per year. So it's not so bad. The nominal value of one share is 50 zlotys per share, with the exception to the prosta spółka akcyjna, where the shares basically has no determined value. And when it comes to the transfer of shares, in case of a spółka akcyjna and prosta spółka akcyjna, there's a documentary form is enough. There's no need for written form. And surprisingly, in case of a spółka z ograniczoną odpowiedzialnością, which is the most common in Poland, you have to have a signature, well, approved, certified by a notary. So there's a written version with the certification by a notary. We can skip to the next slide. In terms of operation, the managing body, in each case, it can be the management board. In case of a prosta spółka akcyjna, you can choose also the board of directors, which combines the role of the management board and the supervisory board. And when it comes to the supervisory board is mandatory only in the case of a spółka akcyjna. You should have it from the start. And in case of the spółka z ograniczoną odpowiedzialnością, the supervisory board is optional, but it is obligatory if you have the share capital more than 100,000 zlotys, or if you have more than 25 shareholders. The shareholders meetings in each case can be done electronically. Well, formally, in case of the spółka z ograniczoną odpowiedzialnością and spółka akcyjna, it should be only on the territory of Poland, but at the same time, the law allows you to do it electronically. So, the most important is that someone who presides this meetings is able to sign the protocol in the territory of Poland. And one important feature is that in case of a spółka akcyjna, there's when you have the shareholders meeting, it always should be recorded by notary public. So at least one person. It can be someone who has a power of attorney from the shareholders should be present at the notary public office, and the whole meeting is recorded by notary public. Now, in terms of responsibility of the management, the management board generally is not responsible for the obligations and affairs of the company. This kind of direct responsibility of the management board appears in the situation in which the company has failed to fulfill their obligation, but it is not happening automatically, because the management board should there are measures to protect the management board from this direct responsibility. So it's not so bad if you conduct your affair with due diligence and have a knowledge about what is happening in your company. You can protect yourself from this direct company. Maybe a few words about this S24, S24 system, in which we can establish through which we can establish spółka z ograniczoną odpowiedzialnością and prosta spółka akcyjna, because this system is not allowing us to establish spółka akcyjna, this joint stock company. This can only be done through the notary public office. And this S24 system allows us to do a fast online registrations through templates of company documents. Sorry, someone has a question? No? Okay, so I'm moving on. And this S24 system is providing ready-made solutions, but it is intended only for cash contributions of shareholders. And this entire procedure takes place, of course, online on the portal, which is provided by our Ministry of Justice. And according to the provision of in this procedure, the articles of associations, company agreements are drawn up according to the predetermined model. So if you have, if you want to introduce some customized solutions, it is not possible to put them into this S24 system. So usually, if the time is critical, and usually it is, we register this company through S24 system, which should take maximum of 2-3 days, few days tops. And thanks to that, we can almost immediately create an entity that can already operate. And later, after we already have started our business, by means of notarial deed, we can change the company agreement and customize and put their customized solutions into it. We can skip to the last slide of my presentation. As we said before, there's also one-man business activity, which is the simplest type of company, as we can say in Poland, and the most common form of activity for small businesses. And but it is not the legal form that we usually recommend for running IT activities, due to two main problems: unlimited scope of responsibility of such person who is running one-man activity, and problems with its successor. Michał has already mentioned it, and Alex will tell you more about it in a moment in the context of concluding those B2B contracts. So Alex, the floor is yours.
Hi guys, nice to meet you all. Sasha, you can go to the next slide. Yeah, thank you very much. As Michał said, we are all waiting for the special act on assistance to Ukrainian citizens, but at first I will just briefly describe the law currently in force, especially applicable to to other nations than Ukrainians as well. And as a rule, a foreign citizen that works physically from Poland needs a permit. It doesn't matter whether cooperation is based on employment contract, contract of mandate, or other civil law contract. In some cases, even member of the board needs a permit. There are, of course, some exceptions, and permit is not needed for EU and EEA citizens, students and graduates of full-time studies in Poland, Poland's business harbor visa holders, long-term EU residents, permanent residents in Poland, etc. There are, of course, other exceptions, but I will not present them. Just decided to include, let's say, the most common cases from my experience. Of course, permit is not needed when you work remotely from abroad for a Polish company, or you get delegated to Poland for no more than 30 days per calendar year. But in such case, you need to, of course, confirm if such permit is not required by law of a country that you're staying in currently. Unfortunately, typical work permit procedure can take from 3 to 24 months. Fortunately, there are also some quicker routes to legalize work in Poland, such as declaration on entrusting work to a foreigner, or Poland business harbor visa procedure for citizens from Ukraine, Armenia, Georgia, Moldova, Belarus, and Russia. For Poland business harbor, a quick visa procedure, there are just 2 basic requirements. You need a confirmation that an IT company is interested in cooperation with you as a candidate, and second requirement is 1 year experience in IT or diploma from IT related field. Currently, before the special act goes through, self-employment via one-man business activity in Poland was possible only for EU, EUA citizens, long-term EU residents, permanent residents, Poland business harbor visa cards, etc. Again, these are not all exceptions, but most common ones. Other foreigners that are not within the exception can only open limited liability partnerships and stock companies that Natalia described, that are probably a good fit for a software house or a new tech company, but not exactly for a single developer. Sasha, you can go to the next slide, please. Okay. As you already know, government already finished the first project of the Act on Assistance to Ukrainian Citizens. It will be hopefully very soon discussed and hopefully voted by our parliament. As Michał already said, stay of all Ukrainian citizens that entered Poland as of February 24th directly will be legal for a period of 18 months, starting as of February 24th. Additionally, both employment and one-man business activity will be possible quite liberally as well. All you need to do is to be legally here. So under this act or other basis of stay in Poland. And you can quite freely set up a sole business activity. You need to just obtain this personal ID number. You need to do it in person and municipal or communal office. We advise you to do it as soon as possible to avoid some queues. Also remember to confirm your ePUAP, the trusted signature, electronic signature account, so you can solve almost all administrative issues online having this ePUAP account. And then you can just enter the registry of business activity called CDG. Like Michał said, it takes just hours or 1 or 2 days. Under this act, you can also legally employ Ukrainian under employment contract, contract of mandate, and other civil law contract. All the employer needs to do is to notify the labor office about entrusting work to Ukrainian within 7 days from the date of commencement of work. And that can be done online via the government website. And that's all to legally employ Ukrainian. Of course, there are other requirements, but they are the same for Ukrainians, Polish citizens, and other EU citizens. Okay, that's all for now. As far as it comes to employment in IT, we will now go to Q&A session. In case you have any additional questions, you can just post it here in the Zoom chat. We also created a Google Doc, then you can just enter. Natalia, could you please share the link with everybody on the chat?
Okay, I'll stop sharing
Yes.
the presentation, right? Okay.
Наталя, ви розумієте українську мову?
No, sorry,
okay.
no.
So what is
So
Slash,
my idea, because there were some questions about taxation,
Mhm.
so maybe I could explain you the taxation more clearly before you start asking the questions. There are several questions, so I will maybe summarize how the taxation in IT looks like in Poland. I tried to mention it, but there were some questions on the chat. So IT companies, if you establish a legal entity, a corporate, either limited or the other one, you pay corporate tax, and it's 9% up to 2 million revenue per year, and over you pay 19%. So if you earn more,
2 million of zloty or euros?
2 million euro, 2
Okay.
million euro per year. If you earn your revenue, not income, revenue is bigger than 2 million euro per year, you pay 19% taxation. It's a corporate income tax rate. And then when people work in IT business, people, employees, there are two, like we mentioned, two bases. One is labor contract, and the second one is B2B contract, when people are self-employed, one-man business activity. If you're under the how it, because it's quite complicated, so I will start how it looked till this year. Under labor contract, there are two tax rates. One is 17%. Up to 120,000 zlotys. That is 25 till 30,000 euro per year. And then if you exceed, if you earn more, which is most of IT people employed in the IT, you pay 32%. And what has changed under this new law imposed this year is additional health insurance. That was added. It's 9%. So under labor contract, tax plus this health insurance is in fact 26% when you earn up to 120,000 zloty per year, and you exceed this amount, you pay 41% of your income. So a lot. And then if you were on B2B basis as one-man business activity, until this year, it was this year, so before January, it was common to have it taxed by a flat rate of 19%. It was income. Your income was taxed with 19%, and it was 100% people did it like that. Unless they were software developers or designers, they could use IP Box. IP Box, this is a special tax relief for IT branch, and it allowed you to pay a rate of 5%. But how it looked like, you paid 19% for the whole year of tax. All your income was taxed during the year with 19%, and at the end of the year, with your yearly tax declaration, you could get some tax return. The difference between 19% and 5%. It required also obtaining interpretation of Polish tax office, so it was not something very simple. It was simple, but not very simple. You had to do some procedure. And what has changed this year? There is also an additional health insurance imposed. It's 4% of health insurance. That means, 5% health insurance. That means if you are taxed with this flat rate of 19%, you pay 24% in total, tax plus health insurance. And if you were using this IP box tax relief, you were paid 5%. You pay 5% plus 5%, so up to 10% of total public expenses. And what was the effect of these changes? People started looking for new solutions, and what is now used most commonly? This is what I mentioned in the first part: tax by revenue. This is called in Polish ryczałt. This is the tax where not your income but your revenue is taxed. However, most of the people employed in IT business do not have a lot of costs to deduct. So in many situations, their income was equal to their revenue. So this is not the greatest problem. The greatest problem of this taxed revenue is that there are a lot of tax rates that differ between the posts. So like I mentioned, if you are a software developer, it's quite clear that you are taxed by 12% rate. If you are a project manager, some of them may be taxed by 8.5%, some by 12%, some by 15%. If you are a sales, you are taxed by 8.5%, but if you are a sales manager, you may be taxed by 15%. So it's not really clear even for Polish people. Right now, we have had like over 100 projects where we were implementing this taxed revenue in IT companies, but it's much cheaper using it for people than the tax I mentioned before. Even compared to this IP box, where you pay 19% during the year, and then you can get some tax return. Before it was 14% tax return. Now, having this health insurance imposed, you pay 24% yearly, and then get tax deduction tax return up to 10%. So it's much cheaper to be taxed like 12%, but also during the year. I don't know if it's clear for you. If you have any more questions regarding this taxation, do not hesitate to ask me.
Hi, sorry, I have a question. First of all, thank you for the presentation. Can you please clarify what's the difference between this B2B type of the agreement and revenue-based taxation from the legal perspective?
From the legal perspective, there is no difference. The contract is the same.
So it's still like a sole entrepreneur and the legal entity paying to the sole entrepreneur. So
Yes.
Just the sole entrepreneur can choose between like this 10% taxation, I mean, including IP box relief, or
Yes.
he's paying just 12% directly without this IP box relief. So what's the difference between these two schemes? How the person can choose between them?
The difference is that, first of all, there is no difference from the legal point of view. The difference is that if you have just simple B2B contract, the scope doesn't matter because you are taxed no matter what the scope of the contract is, you pay the same tax. In this tax revenue, the important thing is the scope, because it may differ from 8.5% up to 15%. So it's really important to check this carefully. And the second important thing is the timing. You choose the form of taxation. You have when you issue an invoice in, for example, February or March, we have March already. So if you start invoicing March, you have time up to 20th of April of April to choose this reach out form, so this revenue tax form. If you don't do it, if you miss this date, you are taxed on general rules. So either flat rate of 19, which means in fact 24%, or IP box. So you have to be aware of the date.
Okay, so basically from your perspective, for us, the recommendation is to use like this special tax rates for software developers, for designers, for project managers, and pay from revenue.
Not only all the posts related to IT business may benefit from that, except for managers. So almost all the people, business architects, designers, UXs, UIs, and so on, all the people rather benefit from that form, especially when you have no costs to deduct. There are some exceptions, people who made a second activity where they had a lot of costs to deduct, so for them flat rates are better. But like I mentioned, 90% of people employed in IT branch are taxed that way, so they are paying the tax on their revenue.
Thank you. And do you have like the link to this table with different rates depending on the roles in the IT business, like this matrix that you mentioned?
I shared it a few weeks before on my LinkedIn account in Polish only. I will send it or include in this Google Docs that we provide you with.
Sure. Sounds good. We have another raised hand, and I would like everybody who wants to ask a question also to find how to raise a hand in Zoom and do that. So we have Maxime first. Maxime, go ahead.
Okay, hello, thank you very much. Very good presentation. The question I have, we tried to approach some of companies who work like umbrellas in Poland and hire people propose to hire people through them. And what they said us is that I don't remember if it was related to IP Box or it was some other program, and I don't know if something other exists. But what they said that I think it was about IP Box. But what they said is that in IP Box works more for startup companies where you can prove that you work on some project and you can show how it changes. And it doesn't really works very well for service companies, the company which works for another company and which works for another company, etc. Is it and they say that's us, that because of that, this model doesn't work for us because we are a service company. So we wanted to get some input from you about that.
This answer is not correct. It was the interpretation of law at the beginning of IP Box was implemented in Polish law. It was interpreted that way, that you have to have a real product, innovative product that is developed. Right now, it's common that IP Box is used by the developers, even being outsourced, even working on that body leasing, we call it sometimes, basis. So if you can prove that people are developing even somebody else's product, software, even the part of it, you can use IP Box.
So could you I still didn't get why then all people don't use IP Box? Why people?
First of all, because it was quite complicated to get it. Like I mentioned, you had to get a tax interpretation. So not all the developers wanted to obtain one because they were paid enough money, a lot of money, enough even after 19% taxation. So some of them didn't want to do it. So this is the first thing, and the second thing, it's the cash flow problem. You, as I told you, you pay, you was paying, or you are paying right now 19% through all the year, and then you get the tax return. Some people are afraid that the tax offices come and check their activities more carefully during this tax return and so on. So, but we have implemented programs for many companies where the companies paid us for implementing IP boxes for their developers, and it was a kind of payment increase for the people. So it was commonly used, but not all of them used, and now it's easier to be taxed by revenue because effective rate is really similar. It differs just a bit. There is a question on the chat, just to add, if you pay this tax by revenue, you pay you don't pay 5% health insurance, but you pay a specific amount that it's not higher if you earn higher. So it's from 300 zloty, then 550 zloty, and 1,000 zloty per month if you earn more. So it's there are three rates depending on how much you earn. So this is why IP box is now, it's not used for everyone.
Okay, and another question I have is about shares. Do you, in Poland, is there concept of preferred shares, and yes. Is there a concept of flowering or hurdle shares?
We have preferred shares. The easiest way where you can use it is the simple joint stock company Natalia mentioned. It allows you to have like 10% of shares with 90% of dividends. In other companies, there is a preference, but not so high. And there are no in law other options you mentioned. They are not developed in Polish law. However, they are developed in life. So we also see different types of virtual shares, of
okay, and
token shares. And
okay,
so on.
And do you have experience with developing schemes with such like
yes.
phantom shares? Okay.
Yes, we do it. It's quite popular to hold employees with you to develop. It's called ESOP, employee stock option plan, and we developed them. We have developed them, a lot of them, last few years. So Sasha, please be the moderator. Choose, because I don't know.
Sorry.
who
Adam is the next one. Adam Beck, please.
Hi there. Thank you for the presentation. It's really useful. I have several questions. First of all, if we want to grow in Poland locally, hiring local developers, so far we will hire developers in Ukraine, and now we wish to relocate. But if we want to grow locally, is it a common practice for the local developer software engineers to be contractors and to pay the contractor taxes? Or most of them need to be or wish to be employed, directly employed?
Okay, so I tried to mention it and to explain it on my first slide. Vast majority of people work as contractors, subcontractors. Only a minority wishes to be employed, because like I told you, it's a huge difference in taxation of both. So if you offer the gross salary the same, so labor contract is 2/3 of the contractor's contract. This is why majority of people work on B2B as contractors.
Sorry, one more question then. It's Max again. Is there any sense then for us to open an entity in Poland, or just to continue on just to pay them through our international entities as contractors?
That would be the second question, yes, for me as well. Okay.
This is what I was trying to tell you. It's if you wish to open the bank account, to rent an office, or to recruit people here, you should open a legal entity in Poland. If you just wish to secure your business continuity, have people working here, you can use your foreign entity, and it's common that Polish people and as well Polish entrepreneurs, Polish contractors work for foreign companies.
Okay, so
you don't have to.
Okay, so we have an Hungarian company right now. Okay, and my question is, Hungarian company, which is part of the EU, can also rent offices and be active in Poland the same as the local entity, or there are so many other restrictions?
There are. It's harder to get a bank account even within European Union. So I know there are problems. I don't know how Hungary is evaluated by Polish banks, and now it's tougher. You are this KYC procedures, know your customer procedures may take a long time. I don't know how people owners behave. There are no legal differences. What I'm trying to tell you about the practical aspects. It may be much tougher to operate by a Hungarian company, get all these documents certified, all the stamps from Hungary. I can imagine if you want to move and work smoothly, my advice is to open a legal entity in Poland. It's not so expensive. It's much smoother.
Okay, all right. All right. So another question would be, is if we want to make a financial planning of the taxing of the contractors, okay, what would be your suggestion before the optimization, before the tax optimization? What is you think is going to be the common practice for us to have relocating people from Ukraine, growing locally? What would be the, in terms of planning, financial planning, what would be the average tax for every contractor, software engineer, and we're talking here software engineers in Poland?
I would assume 14% of total cost. Average, of course, average. We can go for some posts lower, for some posts higher, but I would assume that it's 14%.
So the average salary, let's say, I say $6,000 per month. Okay, so that's what we will be looking. We need to focus on 14% of that. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay, and the last question would be, who is actually taking care of these contractors? In Ukraine, we hired accountants who actually took care of, of all the handling the tax authorities and reporting and everything. So is it a common practice? What is the common practice in Poland? Do they need to do them by themselves? Can we, engage any service provider that can help them to deal with that? And what would be the cost for each contractor in terms of handling the accounting?
There are two types of approach, two approaches. First one is the approach where the company takes care of it. If it's Polish one, this is the situation where Polish entity would help, because you can even do something that it's called self-invoicing. So you may sell your company, Polish company may invoice yourself on behalf of the IT software developers, software engineers. They don't even have to care about invoicing. So they just receive their money. And then you pay all the things, all the burdens on your side. It's common for three biggest companies we work for that employ over 1,000 people. The software developers treat themselves as employees. There is a second approach where people take care of it. They use some bookkeeping providers. There are several services that can be used via internet only, like Infact or similar companies, that you just upload your invoice and it works smooth way, but it requires from the developers some kind of activity. So if you want to keep your people within your company, I would advise the first approach.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
So I guess just one last question or two more and we'll round up. Also, I will ask my team to duplicate in the chat the links to the Facebook group we created. We created a Facebook group for Ukrainian IT companies for thinking or relocating to Poland, and we will add the lawyers there so you could see probably. And of course, we have the Google Doc and we'll be able to stay in touch. And please subscribe to the YouTube channel to see the recording. If you need to go over, we will cut some of it, but most of it, the presentation, you'll be able to review it. Okay, Katerina, please. Katerina Polish.
Yes, hi. First of all, thank you so much for the presentation. It's very helpful, very useful. I'd like to ask a question about the Ukrainian private entrepreneurs versus Polish private entrepreneurs or one-person businesses, and the reference to 180 days for tax residency. So currently, if Ukrainian private entrepreneurs are already in Poland, for example, they do still pay tax in Ukraine. So what should they then do? Register as a Polish ones and then keep paying taxes in both countries, or what would be the comment on this?
If they don't stay in Poland until 183 days, they are still foreign tax residents in Poland, but such the people also pay taxes from the activity that is performed here. So even if you are here for a day or two and invoice something from here and perform some activity here, you pay tax from this activity that is performed here in Poland. There is a Polish-Ukrainian double tax avoiding double taxation, a treaty on avoiding of double taxation that avoids in such the situation that it's double taxed. So they should pay some taxes in the Ukraine. However, they can be deducted, I think, by the tax you paid here in Poland. And as far as I know, there is a lower taxation rate in the Ukraine, 6%. So I think if you pay like 12 here in Poland, there is no tax involved in the Ukraine.
There is also additional social security amount which is paid every month in Ukraine by private entrepreneurs. So that's also one of the things I referred to. But thank you so much for this. And so does it mean that private entrepreneurs who are right now in Poland, they would need to go through all the steps that you've mentioned, the PESEL, the ePUAP account, even if they don't register as private entrepreneurs in Poland? Or they must register as private entrepreneurs in Poland as the sole one-person businesses?
The bank account is necessary to get paid. I don't if they can be paid in a different way. I don't know, with crypto or something. They don't have to do it. There is no obligation to do it. But if you want to be paid in Polish zlotys or in euro here and to be able to pay it out from the cash machine, you have to have a bank account. To have a bank account, you have to have this PESEL and ePUAP. If they don't want to be registered, to wait what happens, it's also possible. Wait, we all hope it ends all in 2 weeks or a week, or nobody knows. So they can wait a bit. But my idea is to set the date after which there is too high risk and everything should be formalized. This, once again, firstly, secure your business continuity, pay to the people, then worry about taxation. But there should be some date that after which you think the risk is too high and formalize it, legalize it.
Yeah. Thank you so much. That's perfect. Can I ask one more question, or that's too much? On a different topic, though, on the physical presence of shareholders, if we do open the legal entity in Poland, if, for example, the group of company is the US group of company and the main shareholder or the owner of the company is in the US, so how much of the physical presence would be needed in Poland if opening one more entity within this group?
I can
Like,
answer that. There's no need for
No need.
physical presence. Yeah, no need. Because even if the shareholders are obliged to meet, to have this general annual shareholders meeting, we can always do it through power of attorneys. So there's no problem about that. And the power, and the interesting, I think, issue is that even in case of the joint stock company, where all the meetings of shareholders have to be recorded by notary public, but the power of attorney that the shareholder is giving to someone in order to be present during this meeting, it should not have a notarial form. The written form is enough. So there's no need for the physical presence of the shareholders at all.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay, just two more questions, and no more questions, please. We have to let Michael and his team do their job. Alexander, please be fast.
Few questions. Does threshold exist for one-person business? I mean, for example, 5 million euro per year, and after that you will pay what, or you need to evaluate it to the shareholder company, etc.
If I understand it correctly, you ask if you can be a one-man business activity, and if you start to have this income above some.
Yes.
No, the Polish law does not oblige you to transfer into some other form of conducting business. So you can be a one-man business activity and still gain a loss of millions of euro. So
Okay.
there's no need that if you I know reach a level of I don't know 50 million euro per some period, then there's no need for you to be transferred to the different type of conducting business in Poland. But I think from the not only from the tax law, but also from this commercial company law and this risk assessment situations, it will be. I think it will be something to have into the consideration. Yes, because there's a completely different level of your responsibility when you have 50 million euro per month, or I don't know, half a year, and completely different when you have 10 or 20 times less of that. Yes, because as a one-man business activity, you put yourself into this business totally. You're personally responsible for everything. Yes.
So I would add two more things. There is a limit of taxation by revenue. It's 2 million euro per year. Then you enter into less beneficial taxation if you earn more than 2 million per year personally yourself. And the second thing, if you earn more than 1 million zloty income per year and you are in generally taxed, you pay additional 4% taxation. And if you are a company, you always pay either 9 or 19% of flat corporate income tax.
Okay, great, thanks. Another question about the contractor. You have mentioned about, for example, 13% for contractor. It will one side taxes, or it will be for company 13 and a contractor will pay for themselves for another some for taxes?
No, it's on contractor side, and it's a cost deductible for the company. So don't know, million, and you pay to your contractors 900,000. Your company is pays your corporate tax only income tax, and then for this so 14% on contractor side and no on the company side.
And the last question, me as a one-person business, I can work with a limitless amount of contractors?
Yes.
Okay, and I can sign the contract with foreign companies too,
Yes.
yeah?
Yes.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. Oksana, you're the last one. Arsenia, I'm sorry, we cannot take anymore. We're 20 minutes over time. Oksana, please be fast and don't ask like Alex 5 and 6 unfolding questions.
I would say ask later. We will provide you all the answers. Don't worry.
Okay.
Thank you. I just would like to ask you to summarize a total tax burden for contractors, for Polish contractors, with who use result ewidencjonalny or who use just a simple common system, including VAT. Do they have to pay VAT also?
Yes, but it depends on who is the employer, where the company is. If the company is abroad, there is 0%. So no VAT involved.
If the company is Polish company, they pay VAT.
Yes, so between Polish contractors or Polish entrepreneurs and Polish company, there is a VAT.
So
but
actually,
it's deductible also. So one side pays and the other one can deduct it or get a tax return if it's not possible to deduct it.
Thank you.
So VAT system should be neutral for companies.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, guys, we posted all the links which you should follow to get the recording, to get in touch, to be able to ask another question on Google Docs. Thank you very much for this initiative. And you see, Ukrainians are feisty. We're trying to to figure out how to succeed in business continuity in this new reality for us. And we're also comparing what other countries to go to, and of course, naturally, a lot of them will go to our closest neighbor. And I'm very grateful from all the Ukrainian IT companies, Michael, Natalie, and Alexander, for your help today. Thank you. You've been great, professional at webinars. I didn't know that I don't have to do nothing. You work as a great team, and we are sure that we will keep hearing from you, and maybe you will create a follow-up talk or something like that. Thank you very much. We hope you will be able to learn that Ukrainians know how to do business and are very grateful clients as well. We just need some time to get back on our feet.
Yeah, we wish you good luck, and we all hope it ends quickly. Good luck, and thank you.
Thank you.
And
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
Bye-bye. Thank you. Take care.
Bye-bye.